put on hold for 2 weeks to allow clubs participation in the ongoing Presidential Federation Cup at state level. And I would like to hear from you this morning regarding this talking point. The Central Nigerian Premier Football League team will make it to Rivers State team. Rivers United. Now, the Nigeria Premier Football League matched the 35 fixture between Kano Pillars and Rivers United at the Sani Abacha Stadium was marred by violence after match officials were attacked inside the stadium premises. So I would like to hear from you. Let's discuss this morning. To stop all this news, should the league management board go with conferences? That is, just like what is happening in the NLL, where we have the North, West, and South Conference. Should we go with the conferences? Should we go with conferences to stop news like this? And speaking about conferences, I'll read out some of the nations, the teams from the North, the teams from the West, and also the teams from the South. When I open the phone, I'd like to hear from you. And also, Wolves, they've been relegated from the Premier League on Monday after West Ham goalless draw at Crystal Palace sealed their fate. But there's another story I would like to hear from you this morning. Brazil's two-time World Cup winner, Cafu, he said on Monday that he believes this year's tournament is the perfect time for the five-time champions to take back their crown as the first time, for the first time in 24 years. So do you see this Brazil team, this current Brazil team, as World Cup favorites? Well, we have the likes of Spain, we have the likes of Germany, France, Argentina. Do you see this France national team as a World Cup favorite? My name is Nnadozie, Nnadozie, but if you call me the CBN of sports, trust me, we'll become friends for life. I would like to hear from you. Open the phone line 0908 1855 966, 0908 1855 966, or you can call 0902 2917 917, 0902 2917 917, or you can send a WhatsApp message to this line 0704-1783. I'm not going to run solo, even if my voice is not low. His name might not be solo. Mr. Patrick, good morning. Welcome to Soccer Frontier this morning.
It's a great time, right? Morning. We're here to look at them stories, making the rounds. Wolves relegated after gaining promotion back to the top flight. That was under Nuno Espirito Santo some years back, and I mean 99 points then. It's really sad that that they are back to the championship. Crazy times.
Okay, I think it's safe for us to start the show this morning. And Patrick, I would like us to start with this State FA Cup story. Because the Nigeria Premier Football League has been put on hold for 2 weeks to allow clubs participate in the ongoing President Federation Cup at state level. It was gathered that the temporary break will enable team fulfill the obligation in the country's domestic competition, which league action set to resume after the conclusion of State Federation Cup ties. The pause comes as the 2026 edition of the tournament progressed across the 36 states, including the FCT, making the Federal Capital Territory, where clubs were competing to secure qualification for the national stage. The state preliminaries, which began in March, are scheduled to end with the finals on either April 26, after which representative will be confirmed according to the revised Nigeria Premier Football League calendar. And March the 36th fixture will now be played on May 3rd, while March the 37th fixtures are slated for May 10th. As the season approaches its decisive phase, the decision follows earlier directive for the Nigeria Premier Football League, or the Nigeria Football Federation, make it NFF, which emphasized strict compliance with Federation Cup fixtures. The Nigeria Football Federation had warned that clubs who fails to honor matches at the national preliminary stage will face a fine of 1 million naira, while those who withdraw after completing state registration risk a penalty of 500,000 naira. The Federation Cup, Nigeria's oldest football competition, began with opening entry at state level, allowing participation from grassroots teams to top flight clubs. Each state produced 2 representatives, the winner and runner-up, for a total of 74 teams to advance to the national competition. At the national stage, lower ranked teams contest preliminary playoffs before joining seeded side from the Nigerian Football Federation and Nigerian National League in the round of 64. Now, from that stage, the competition follows a straight knockout format played largely at neutral venues with tied matches decided by penalties to reduce fixtures congestion. Now, speaking about fixtures, this is where I wanted to discuss factory the Lurker. Now, bring to our own state here, River State. Now, the River State Federation Cup fixtures include today at the Shark Stadium, Sporting Angel versus PH Future Queens, and that game will be by 1 p.m. today. Now, in the male category, the first semi-final game will be Wibros FC versus Ereme Jackson, and that game will be 3 p.m. today at the Shark Stadium. But the second game, Patrick, this is where I want us to talk about. Rivers United will play against Ren by 3 p.m. tomorrow. They will not play the game at the Shark Stadium. They say they want to take the game to Adokia Mesamaka Stadium. In FA Cup, when we watch the FA Cup in England, anywhere they say make you play your game, you go play. Rivers United always draw the game to play at the Adokia Mesamaka Stadium. At least I had some conversation with most of the teams there, and they are angry about it. That if the games have been played at the Shark Stadium, why Rivers United will not come to play at the Shark Stadium?
Because they probably feel that they are better than. They really feel somehow they are better than or they've grown past the Sharks. They've grown past the Shark Stadium. That's probably what they think at this point in time. So for the most part, it's crazy times. But you look at the Shark Stadium, what they have there is synthetic grass, yeah. So it's synthetic. If it's sunny, it gets really tough playing right there. And if you're not using a quality boot, that's another problem. All right. So the turf is not really top. I mean, it's really old and all of that. It's no natural grass compared to the Adokia Mesamaka Stadium. That might as well be the problem. And synthetic, you're very prone to injuries. If you fall, now your hand a day. All right. So that's what happens right there. So I think these are some of the concerns and all of that. And then secondly, they're used to it to their advantage because they are used to the Adokia Mesamaka Stadium. They've played there time and time. That's their traditional home ground. That's been the case for several seasons now. So they are used to that very venue. That's more standard and all of that. That's probably the reason. But then it's there should be a venue for everything. They shouldn't be the one to decide where to play.
Fine, but sorry for interjecting. And that is the point I want us to make, because when we watch, there's a game we watch in FA Cup this season. The Arsenal game. So the play they played. It's a mud. That stadium was cleared with mud, and it's not up to standard. But Arsenal went there to play. Is it Arsenal or Chelsea? They went there to play the football. They did not choose. Okay, let us play this game at the Emirates Stadium. So for Rivers United, I don't know why they keep on making this thing, making the decision for themselves that they want to play at the Adokia Mesamaka Stadium. Every FA Cup, every year, every cup they want to do, making the decision.
For the FA Cup in England, for every venue that's been selected, it's standard. It passes the standard procedure. They don't use pitches that are not up to standard. Standards are different. You could have a facility. You could have a stadium with ultra modern facilities and all of that. The facilities might be ultra modern, but it doesn't mean that it's not bad or something. It's not nice or something. I like to think that for what it's worth, I like to think that it's just because they're a bigger side, a top side, yeah. So they decide where they feel it's convenient for them to play and all of that. So it's just crazy that's happening. But ordinarily, the organizer should have a venue that's suitable for everyone. Moving from here to the Adokia Mesamaka Stadium for these lowly rated sides in the President Federation Cup state level is a lot. Is a lot for these teams involved. I'm talking about logistics and otherwise, moving the fans, the players, and every other member of the team right there to and fro, getting the support they need and all is just seemingly tough for them. But the Shark Stadium is central, and I mean it's the metropolis, yeah. It's very easy to access. So all of these things were also put put in place. For Rivers United, they have the backing of the government, and some of these teams they'll be playing against in the FA Cup, state-owned teams, privately run. They don't have enough financial muscle, to run their affairs, logistics and otherwise. They do not have that, So that's why they prefer, if any, that it's closer, even to its fans as well. So, but that's the politics. Yeah, that's the politics. It's really this happening. Just has to be that fairness. There has to be fairness in all they do, because it's the Federation Cup. They need to have a sense of belonging. Otherwise, all of these things would be balderdash. Like, it's just one-sided, and there's no need playing against them. Should have just announced or declared Rivers United, the state representatives, if that's the case, and then find one other thing. But if they have to, it just has to be fair. They have to come to a consensus and ensure that they come up with a good plan, a plan that's suitable for everyone involved.
Okay, speaking about everyone involved, I think it's time to talk about this story because it involves all the team in the Nigeria Premier Football League.
Professional Football League.
The Nigeria Premier Football League match the 35 fixture between Kano Pillars and Rivers United at the Sani Abacha Stadium was met with violence, after which match officials were attacked inside the stadium premises. Now, the incident occurred shortly after the conclusion of the first half, as the officiating crew made their way to the pitch for the commencement of the second half. The match officials were by individuals within the technical area in the stadium. During the altercation, the center referee was struck in the head with an object, causing him to collapse on the spot. Commencement of the second half was delayed by close to 30 minutes due to referee receiving medical attention on the pitch. Rivers United media officers were harassed while documenting the incident. Their cameras and mobile phones were seized, and all footage of the attack was deleted before the device were returned. Now, for Rivers United, Rivers United has written a petition to the Nigeria Premier Football League board demanding a full investigation into the attack on the match officials and seizure and deletion of its media team's content. Party Lurker. Before I come to you, let me just read out what it looked like when it comes to our league. Based on the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League season, the northern teams include Kano Pillars, Katsina United, Plateau United, Nasarawa United, Niger Tornadoes, Kwara United, Elkami Warriors, Wiki Tourists, and Barau FC. These are teams based in the North Central, Northwest, Northeast region of Nigeria. And these are the teams: Kano Pillars, Katsina United, Plateau United, Nasarawa United in Lafia, Niger Tornadoes, Mina, Kwara United, Ilori, Ikolodus, Elkami Warriors, Meduguri, Wiki Tourists, Bauchi, and Barau FC, Kano. Now, in the West Conference, we have teams based on 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL season. Now, the Southwest teams are Remo Stars, Shooting Stars, making 3FC of Ibadan, Ikorodu City. These are teams that are based in Ogun State and Lagos State, respectively, competing at the top flight league in the Nigeria Premier Football League.